law, that which wills you to do each and everything on a daily basis, i.e. wake up in the morning, anything more important than that is a form of shirk. Some of us wash our car more than we make ablution. We make sure our car clean. But haven't made wudu one time within that day. That's shirk. Nah, that's not shirk, brother. Okay. Well, keep carrying on this way and give that importance more than you give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you'll find out. Creation believes in the oneness of Allah. Creation identifies with the fact that it was created by Allah. Creation is totally submissive to the will of Allah. You can only reap the benefits of creation and be a friend of creation if you have a likeness with creation. Most of the time, we're friends with people who we have commonalities with. Am I correct? I like you, you like me because we have commonalities. We have things in common. We like to do halal things. We're not moving and shaking in the street so I can hang with you. That's symbolic of creation. Creation submits to the will of Allah. So if you want creation as a friend, you want creation as a helper, you want creation to help you in your progress as you engage it, you have to submit to the will of Allah, and now you all have commonalities with creation, and creation has no problem offering you everything it has to offer. So each and every man who has not grasped or attained that which Allah has guaranteed you in creation, okay, recalibrate. Ramadan, perfect time, vacation, distractions, gone. Shaitan, locked up. Obligations, done. Someone was asking me, a sister came into my business the other day, and she offered me, I'm not going to tell that story. That's a good one too, but let me show you how law works. Typically when I'm usually at Ibrahim Islamic Center on Alameda. When it's not Ramadan, before I go into the Musala, I run into the Valero and get a bottle of water, because the brother has no problem with me parking on the Valero parking lot, but because the parking lot where the Musala is packed, I park in one of his parking spaces. That's his business. Even though I'm going to Musala, it's still his business. I'm taking up a parking space. So before I go into the Musala, I buy a bottle of water. I do this each and every Friday. He happens to be a Muslim. He says, pray for me, give dua, because he's at work. And why he can't take 5 minutes off to come to the Musala, I don't know. That's between him and his employee and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he's a good brother. So when I get to the counter to buy the water, week before last, listen, how quick you can forget these distractions. I'm only being a servant of Allah in my actions, but at the same token, when I went into the store, I got to the counter, and the brother, and which we all are, of course, in our duty as Muslims, even if we're not fasting, we don't eat in front of Muslims. We don't come out eat. You show some regard and respect for everybody else. So I get to the counter, and he say, Assalamu alaikum. I say, thank you so much. Right then and there, I remembered I'm fasting. So this is Islam. And I said, brother, thank you so much. He said, well, I didn't know if you were sick or not, so I didn't want to interrupt or say anything. And that's what Muslims do. But look how Allah works outside of him being generous. If you're not remembering, the simple peace be unto you was enough to bring me back to where I was supposed, on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. He brought me back to Qiyam, put the water up, went and made salat. But when you're not in tune with creation, and you got a whole lot of distractions, and you moving farther and farther away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that don't happen. So when you got bad luck, and you saying, why me? Why do I consistently fall in this situation with my wife or my friends or my kids? It's not your wife. It's not your friend. It's not your kids. It's you. Because if you are in connection with the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can help solve your wife's problem, your kids' problem, and your friend's problem. It's you, dear Muslims. We cannot blame anyone. We have the perfect religion. So tie back in to who you are. Because sometimes we get outside of ourselves and start believing we Superman, Muslims. We believe we can handle our own problems. We forget we the created. And everything else is created and die just like you. You can only go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for salvation. You don't believe it? Start catching too much hell and read every book up under the sun to try to get you out of that hell. And when it don't work, look at what you do. You get all the way down on your knees. Hell bring you to your knees. You make sajda. And which shows you in itself how merciful Allah is, and that it's mercy in hell. Because hell sends you to sajda eventually. Because what Allah say, you will come willingly or unwillingly. So look at the mercy of Allah. He wants you to get to Jannah. Even within your hell of doing something you have no business doing, He make you drop to that ground and say, Allahu Akbar. This is our religion. Who's scared to live this religion in this society when it offers you this? Who's scared to believe in the oneness of Allah and understand that everything else is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and is equal just to you? Equal just like you. You go into the water, stay too long, he'll drown just like you. Tell him to go into that water for too long if he's greater than you. See, he won't come back up. He won't be able to tell you that he's not greater than you. Allah is merciful on the disbelieving, that He allows the disbeliever to live to disbelieve another day. That's a mercy in itself, hoping he get it one day. This is who the Creator is. This is what the Creator does. This is what making the distinction in this particular, making the distinction between the Creator and the created. And this is what Ramadan is. Because 11 months out of the year, we get weary. And Allah is merciful in that He knows we get weary. Sometimes we get confused. Not everybody, but some of us get confused. And we start giving energy to creation more so than we give energy to the Creator. And because Allah is a merciful God, He allows for us a month that creates the balance. Get our equilibrium back right. Because we all know if we fall into the doldrums of disconnecting from our Creator, we meet destruction. There's nothing in creation that has strayed away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and has been able to survive. Nothing in creation. Anything that strays away from the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala meets its destruction. Allah says in Quran, Amwatun ghayru ahya wa ma yash'uruna ayana yubathuna. They are the things dead and lifeless, nor do they know when they will be raised up. They are those that have become totally disconnected from the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's amwatun. These are the dead ones, no longer living, lifeless. But this is who you become when you don't embody this oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You become and we see these people every day. Amwatun, lifeless. You don't become. A lot of them don't become physically. They still here. They spiritually dead. The walking dead. And this is when our faculties and our rational mind have left us. Allah has sealed and put a cap on your thinking because you didn't put it to good use when you had it freely. We the Muslims are the examples of life in this society. We the Muslims, despite all that has happened within the month of Ramadan, has shared an experience, an example of true believers to each and every one of our friends on a daily basis, despite the distractions that society has put forth in relation to al-Islam. And Shaitan is exhausted. Shaitan is exhausted at the fact that no matter how much he tries to discredit this religion, Allah has sent his warriors, each and every one of you, an example of the Prophet Muhammad, the best example. Each and every day, we are impressionable on someone in society. This is why you gotta have the perfect ibadah, the perfect worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because sometimes we don't understand that we are descendants of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are the cousins. Prophet Muhammad is your cousin. You represent this religion. This is not the fastest growing religion just because. This is the fastest growing religion because each and every one of you have been impressionable on the innate nature of man that was born Muslim. And when that man reconnects with that innate, kind of like a child riding on a toy, and I grow up and something in society makes me remember when I was younger, and I say, I remember when I was riding my tricycle in front of the house. Don't you know that's how this religion is? For those who were born with this religion, each and every man has this religion, this ruh, this spirit on his soul. So when he sees a Muslim in society acting in obligation and example in the Prophet Muhammad, it hits his soul and wait a minute, listen, he's not going to become a Muslim overnight. But what it does is it wakes up a consciousness. It wakes up an appetite to want more. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Dear believer, in closing, in understanding the oneness of Allah and this great month of Ramadan that Allah has given us in His mercy so that we may clear our minds, get closer to Allah, eliminate the distractions, be able to distinguish creation from the Creator, not allowing our energy to be absorbed by creation so much so that we forget our obligation to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and living an example. We cannot become lifeless and allow our 5 senses or faculties that Allah have blessed us with to go dead. Imam Warthuddin Muhammad, may Allah forgive his sin and grant him paradise, said that their senses will turn away from them because they have turned away from their Creator. They are the living dead. When we don't use the faculties that Allah has given us to call the adhan, to hear the adhan, they will become mute. If you're not hearing this religion clearly, check yourself. If you're confused about the religion of al-Islam, check yourself. Allah has brought you into a consciousness that it's time you get right. It's time to evaluate how close you are to God. There's no grade. The only time the fabricated ruh of shaitan can only enter when your brain is empty. See, when the whisperer comes, when shaitan comes and he whispers in that ear, if you find gray area, that means there was space in there for him to fill it up with something. But if you embody the